So nobody is moving, shaking their hands, or putting a lighter out. It's very sad, because I play a song for you. Thanks a lot. So why is this guy playing with this slightly small device here on the stage? I wanted to impress you. I wanted to bring my band with me. I'm, as you heard, a bad musician, but with a band it's quite better. But I decided to not bring drums and bass and all these things with me here because it's just too big. So I just put my small, smart device with me, and I'm not giving up, so I play the second song after the first. I have to remember, just a second. 1, 2, 3. Yes, 1, 2, 3. Okay, again, nobody moves. Nobody recognized? You recognize the song? Okay, I try a different one, and this is the last one. Okay. So maybe you recognize this melody, and I just wanted to show that even with a bad musician, good content can be presented on a small device. So it was just to tell about these things. Maybe you heard about these philosophies about mobile first versus mobile last. So I can bring my ukulele or my band on a big desktop computer and bring it down to a smaller device. And as we saw, the song, which was optimized for Netscape or for the band, it was not happen to bring you a recognition of this song on the small device. But vice versa, if I have a good melody line, I can bring it to you on a very small device. So just want to say that content is king in the meaning of this. The content was the melody line, and there are a lot of technical things I wanted to put on the chart because this is a technical crowd normally at T3CON. But I don't want to talk about responsive web design, adaptive images, or all these things. I want to talk about mobile strategy because slightly mobile just isn't enough. So it's not about the technique to deliver the things. I want to think about why we deliver things to whom. So my agenda for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I think, will be divided, as the title say, in a mobile part where we look at the mobile evolution, at the devices we use in this mobile environment, the usage of these devices, and how they are all synced. Then we have a small first conclusion about this, and afterwards I will talk about strategy, more related on business concepts and marketing, about the customers of your business, and we have a small part how to make maybe an analysis of that what your customers are doing, looking at the value chain between you and your customers, and then I have a few next steps how to get out of this talk to a mobile strategy maybe for you. First, let me introduce not the band, but the team. I was not doing the content on my own. I'm working at DKD in Frankfurt, and we are talking often about several subjects like mobile strategies. The team have been with Jens Hoffmann, which you might know, Sascha Lührend, he is an accountant in our agency, Sören Schaffstein, and the last guy, that's me. I'm Carsten Lambrecht. I'm born in 1975, a bit older than the internet, but grew up in the same time. We were friends from the beginning. My first computer was a Commodore C64, C64, yes. And I wanted to put everything everywhere with me. That's the matter of the ukulele. I'm normally an organ player, but an organ is not so good for traveling, so I used the ukulele. And in the beginning, in the 80s, I wanted to put everything with me in my backpack every time and everywhere, so I wanted to put this Commodore in a small carrying case with a small black and white TV, but I didn't do it. It was then a Game Boy, my first mobile device. I started my business career as a graphic designer, and then I bought my first real computer, which was a bit mobile, an HP 920, I think it was called. I built up some marketing knowledge at the end of the last century, bought my first smartphone, a Sony Ericsson P800, I think. And the graphic career and the marketing career in advertising agencies ended in 2005. Since then, I'm doing Typo 3 things and have a few of mobile projects since 2008 on my agenda. Just a sip of water. So, I've introduced myself, so maybe you can introduce you, and maybe we start on the right side. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to know if the audience here is more a Typo 3 crowd, or is it more business related? What are you doing here? Maybe every businessman moves the head up. And women, sorry. Okay, so that's nice to see. So now we know me, we know you, and now let's have a look how the internet grew up. We have a look in the web evolution. If you don't know this chart, you have to follow the link in the presentation. You get this at SlideShare later on. You have to follow the link. It's very nice to see and to play around with it in the browser, where you can see when the internet was born, which HTML, CSS, and all these technical stuff, what I don't want to talk about, when they have come to life and how is it looking today. So what is going on in the internet, or maybe before the internet, before Tim Berners-Lee, what does we have? If we are talking about information, we just have a letter or a newspaper just to consume information in that way. Later on, we had the internet and could read the internet on the browser, and even can browse through those navigational elements through different pages. After that, we had what we call Web 2.0, where we started to communicate. So we had text and maybe even sound or video files, image galleries, and then comments and user-generated content was growing. Then we have Web 3.0, where everything is related. So this is not only a movie, or this is not only an image. The computer knows what is all about, the content, what is standing there. My computer knows that a piece of text there, a number is a zip code or a phone number where I can call when I'm using or browsing this content on a smartphone. And this leads to something what is called the Internet of Things. If the content knows what it's all about, the machine knows what it's all about, and then things can happen that my printer at home writes me an email and says, okay, you have to buy new ink. The cars are calling in the case of emergency, and the story of the refrigerator which is ordering milk, if the milk is empty, is very old. I have not such a refrigerator at home, but maybe it will come alive. So we had a look to the content. Now we look to the devices. Maybe a few of you have such a pile of devices at home. I have with me here a smartphone, a laptop, since yesterday a smartwatch, and an e-book reader, and a lot of things. So just to make it a bit easier, we stay today with these three devices: a smartphone, a tablet, and a desktop computer. Okay. So it's a common thinking with these devices that we have a big screen and a smaller screen and a very small screen, that we are reading a big and richer content on the big screen, and then we read smaller content and smaller content and smaller content on the smaller screens. I don't know what content I can read on this smart watch, but it's getting smaller and smaller. I don't think that this is right. Let's think about you are interested in movies. And going back to the device diversity, I have a desktop computer at home, and then maybe I read big articles with a lot of content, with images and with movie trailers for this movie. And on my couch with my tablet, I just want to see the latest trailers, maybe. And my smartphone is only in usage when I'm outside and just want to see where's the next cinema. But in fact, I'm looking at the desktop computer where's the next cinema because I'm not so often in cinemas. And I'm reading this huge article on my smartphone because it's just nearby and I'm too lazy to stand up. So every content must be available at the right time, on the right device, for the right kind of usage. Or maybe it's called context of use. That's in the past how we were using and surfing the web. I remember myself when I went in the cellar of my parents' home to go in the internet and see whatever, I don't know, naked girls or something. It was amazing. This has changed. We are not sitting lean forward to go in the internet. Today it's looking like this. So how does our digital life cycle looks like? In the past, the day life, the digital day life started in the morning till the evening, till the night. And only on weekdays that we are sitting in the office in front of the computer. And maybe on the afternoon in front of the computer. Today it's nearly the same. We are sitting in the office in front of whatever, internet, working with whatever. In the morning I sit often at the computer. But in the afternoon maybe I use a tablet because I'm sitting in a meeting and it's easier to use. And this day life has become a bit wider. The first touch in the morning is not my girlfriend, it's my smartphone, because I have to stop the alarm clock. Afterwards, I read some news on the smartphone. And in the evening, the same, it's not my girlfriend, it's the smartphone, because I turn on the alarm clock, and maybe I go shopping in front of that on Amazon, and on lunchtime I read the news in Stern or Spiegel or wherever, and on the way back to the office, I'm reading my latest tweets. So we are permanently online, and in every situation, everything is synchronized. I'm starting shopping in the middle of the day at Amazon, looking before I turn off the lights at my shopping carts, and maybe in the next day at the computer, I check out. So everything is in sync. But how is all these things synchronized? Let's dive in. The synchronization process with a small Typo 3 installation. Here it's not about synchronizing shopping carts. At the public transportation, it's all about disturbances. So we need to have these synchronized on a lot of devices or through a lot of channels. Of course, the site is mobile optimized. This is a responsive web design project, or to be more accurate, it's an adaptive web design project. And even on the small device, I can get every information, even these disturbance lists. To see what is getting there or how it's getting there, make it a bit bigger. Of course, a mobile version, because we are in mobile strategies. what is happening if a user is pushing this button. We get information about disturbances which are coming from somewhere, but not from the Typo3 world. Because of political and infrastructure terms, we had to build something with Ruby on Rails for the, what is it called? The control center of the public transportation in Frankfurt. And they go to this formula and can put a date from a disturbance and a lot of information in this form and say what's happening on which line and what we can do afterwards to get to our aimed position. So what is happening there and how is it coming there? You all know that, I think. Even today it's a bit cloudy outside, so everything comes out of the cloud. Not just for collaborating like this, working on the same documents or whatever. Everything is somewhere in the cloud or in some control centers what has to be synchronized to every device so that it is reachable at every time. So the first conclusions at this point are, in fact, there is a mobile web. Everybody is using this mobile web through mobile devices, but I think there is no mobile web. There's only one web we are all using, and we want to have everything at every time there. The user is always online, as we saw, and we need everything synchronized to all these mobile devices. So let's have a look how this could help us for our strategy part. We're going to the business. And then the question is how to decide what to do if we are a first mover in something like this. A few years ago, we had MP3s, and there was a first mover, the MP Man, like the Walkman in the 80s. The MP Man was not so good, but it was a first mover. Maybe it's better to be a trendsetter or fast or a late follower like this Zune. It's Zune? Zune, yes. So how to decide what to do and when to follow these ideas. That depends on your factory or your industry or your business, whatever you are doing. If you're a producer of huge fans or you are transporting huge fans to a football team or you are an organizer of a rock festival. It's depending on your business. So how do we know what is your business about? There we have to go back to your factory and have a look to your business. And what you can do is you can fill out this piece of paper you find in the internet, the business model canvas, and that will help you understand what you are doing for who you do that. So starting in the top right corner, we have the customer segment, where you see what is your customer and what are your markets. Is it a mass market? Is it a niche market? Is it very segmented? You can write everything down. You can print out another sheet and make it again and make it often and don't think too much. Just write down whatever you think about your business. Then you deliver values. Write down what values are you delivering. Is it a good or is it a service? Is it helping solve problems or what are you doing for your clients? Then you need different channels to deliver these goods. Gesundheit. Through which channels are you delivering these things? And what you find here is something in these phases when you get the awareness of your customer and client. We come back to this later. First, look to the customer relationship. Do you need a relationship to your customers, or is it, I don't know, just self-service or whatever you are doing? Then you need key resources. So write down what are your key resources, what are your distribution channels and customer relationships, and what's your revenue stream. You have key partners. So who are your key partners, and Maybe you can reduce the risk of dependencies with your partners, or maybe you can acquire important partners or important resources. Then you have key activities. Of course, the cost structure. Is everything you do more cost-driven or more value-driven? And what we are looking for is the revenue stream. So for what value are your customers paying and how do they pay? Okay, when we know what your customers are doing, then we want to know why they are doing these things. So we want to understand the customer journey. Why do I do whatever? Stand in line of these guys to buy a piece of cake in Lisbon, and I'm from Frankfurt. Why did I do this? This is called the customer journey, and the yellow uke was with me in Lisbon. These are the cakes that I wanted to have, and that was because a colleague of me told me about these pastéis de nata. And I totally wanted to eat one and to try one. And I planned a holiday trip and I decided to go to Lisbon. So there was a phase before, then during when I bought these cakes or when I ate them, and there's a phase after that, and you can divide them again. So before you have the awareness phase, you have the consideration phase, when I thought, okay, maybe I go there. Then you have the purchase, the ownage or the usage of the product or services, and afterwards you have the reconsideration. From your business, you can do several things to get attention from your client. You can inform them and argue to buy these things or why to buy these things. And during the purchase, you have to deliver a secure and ease of use checkout process. And after buying the things, you have to have a look at the service and the satisfaction for your users. And you can honor the loyalty of your users. And it was completely what I was going around. Niels, my colleague, get my attention. I wanted to eat this cake. So I informed myself via the internet on a smartphone. The secure and ease paying process was not so easy, but it was so good. The service and the satisfaction was very good. There was some sugar in it and some cinnamon, and it was so great that I reconsidered to go back there, and they honored my loyalty by giving me a big pack of 6 cakes for the price of 4. So I'm telling you about that. You are getting attention, and maybe you inform yourself to go to Lisbon. Transfer this to another product to say this is not only working with products, with real products. Because my clients always say, no, for me, everything is completely different. I don't have a product, I have service or whatever. I'm B2B and not B2C, so this is not working for me. So we are transferring that to a taxi ride. Maybe you know this example, but it's very easy to describe what is happening there. So when I'm looking for a taxi, what is the customer journey? Before I need a taxi, I must know that I need a taxi. So I come out of the central station or whatever. Then I can ask myself, do I ride by subway or by taxi? Or maybe I can walk. So I have to inform me, or others have to argue to say, take my taxi, but is there a taxi around? I don't know. So maybe I have to do things during the purchase phase. I have to do a phone call to call me a taxi to come to me, because at the central station there was no taxi. But I'm in Stuttgart and I came from Frankfurt, so I have no idea where to call. So I look it up, the number, it's no problem because I have a smartphone. Then I came to a landing page where the wrong number is written down, and then the girl on the phone asked me, "Where are you?" And I have no idea where I am. But if I got a taxi and was lucky, then I sit in the wrong car maybe, because I said I need a taxi ride for 5 people, and this was a small taxi, so it was not big enough. The strange driver was very strange, and he rode it the wrong way, so it was very expensive for me. But if it was very good, I could say, okay, give me your business card, maybe I'll ride back with you tomorrow. What I never ever will do, because I lose this business card very soon. So we need a SWOT. Sorry, it's a spelling problem. It's called SWOT. We need some special tactics, but it's not special armors and tactics. It's called SWOT analysis. It's called strengths, weakness, the opportunities and the threats in your business, and all these touch points, what we saw before. So going back to the taxi ride and to the business customer journey, all these terms around the customer journey are called touch points. These are points where your customers are getting in touch with you, with your brand, with your business, with your product, whatever. And at these touch points, we can look what are the problems, like the wrong phone number, or that the customer doesn't know where he is, or the landing page, or whatever. These touch points we can optimize. So we're looking just to a small part of the circle and do this SWOT analysis, the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities and the threats, where these are external, not from the taxi call center, and these points are internal, and these are helpful, and the weakness and threats are harmful. So internal, we have a big strength, we have many, many taxis. Harmful, they are not always around. An internal strength might be that all these taxis have GPS. An external weakness might be that the costs are too high, because my call center, they are always wanted to earn more money every year. External but helpful might be that there is an increasing smartphone usage. And a threat might be that there's a local price battle. In Frankfurt, there are small taxi companies who ride to the airport for a fixed price and a very low price, and the normal taxi customers can't beat that. So maybe we can say, okay, we have a better service or whatever. So we have to look at these things, the strengths, the weakness, the opportunities, and have to think, how can we take these strengths to make these weaknesses go away or whatever. So looking to the taxi customer journey, we can use something like an app. So all these touch points get a lot of easier. I don't have to look if there's a taxi around or not. Just click and the app knows that I need a taxi. I don't have to do a phone call. The app will call me back, the taxi rider. I don't have to look a number or whatever, or ask myself where I am. The app knows all this after the first click. And in the right corner, in the service and satisfaction area, I can give ratings for the driver, so everybody else knows that this driver was a strange driver. And afterwards, I can add him to my favorites, so I can, if I want to, ride again with him. So with My Taxi, that's the name of the app, they made the way between the taxi driver and the call center and the customer a bit shorter, because we don't need the call center anymore. This is called the melting of the value chain. And every business has his value chain. In the example of the taxi, we had the taxi driver, taxi call center, and afterwards the customer. And the call center isn't anymore because of this app. Another example, which we saw very early, the MP3s. In the beginning of the music, or in my age of the music, there was the artist, then a publisher, the wholesale, there was small shops, and afterwards there was a customer. And then Apple and iTunes came, and there don't have to be anymore these wholesale and whatever, maybe only a downloadable shop. And even this value chain is melting again because of these guys. So I don't need to own the songs because I just pay 9 or 5 euros per month and I can listen to whatever I want to. And the last example, a huge example, I think, because a lot of my clients always say, I can't do this, I can't melt this value chain, because when I'm not delivering my product via the wholesale and the shops and whatever, I have a big problem. I can't cannibalize, you know what I mean? I can't cannibalize them with my own shop. But Nike does exactly this. If I'm looking for a shoe, I need a factory. After that, a wholesale, the shops, and then the customer. In the internet, you can go to Nike ID, where you can create your own shoe. You can add the colors, whatever you want to, make it look like Typo 3 or whatever, and you can order the shoe direct online. And there's a big, big win situation, because for me, the customer, it's very nice to have the shoe I want with my name on it or with Typo 3 on it or whatever. And for Nike, it's very, very good because Nike knows that I am 38 years old, that my shoe size is 42, that I bought the shoe today in yellow, and that maybe in 1 or 1.5 years, a newsletter for me with an excellent new shoe might be a good idea. So what I said in the beginning, that these business to business or business to customer models are always different. That leads me to that there might be this B2B to B2C, because Nike was B2B, business to the wholesale, again B2B, the wholesale to the shops, and then B2C to the customer. And with Nike ID, this is B2C, direct. So if you are doing such an analysis with the business model and all these things, maybe you find your My Taxi app or your idea to get bigger things for you out of this. So what might be the next steps for you? First of all, you have to understand your business. So going back to this with the huge fans. You can follow me on Twitter or the DKD, and there you find this presentation where you have the link to the business model canvas. And then you might do a first analysis on your own, or maybe in a workshop with an agency with a look from outside, what's often helpful. So then if you're understanding your business model and have a look to your touch points and the customer journey, maybe you find something where you could put your strengths in it, and then you see if you're in need of a mobile optimized microsite or more a responsive web design project. I think most content must be responsive, but I don't know, you have to look for yourself. Maybe you need workshops, workflows integrated, so you need a web app, or maybe even a native app. And what you have to do in the next step, last but not least, you have to play ukulele. Thank you.